And so when I say Chinese, I want you to scream out the nation that's associated with this. For example, if I say Chinese, you're going to say what?
China!
All right, let's say it with authority. When I say Chinese, you say what? China! All right, that's just a test right there. So here we go. Chinese.
China!
Russian.
Russia!
Italian.
Italy!
German.
Germany!
Swedish.
Sweden!
Korean.
Korea!
Egyptian.
Egypt!
Nigerian.
Nigeria!
Black.
Exactly. Nothing. Tell him, Pastor. Tell him, Pastor. Black, nothing.
I hope you were able to successfully identify the issue.
The lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said the lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. They want us to sell our souls to barter profit. Like God's property, it's hard to market. So we steady to aim, keep your eyes on target. Cause when you got to drive, yeah, they'd rather you park it. But I don't valet, you ain't getting these keys. I'm keeping close hands, I'm on bended knee. I'm just a reflection, dealing with 8 sections. Art mixed with life, you can feel the convection. Your lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said the lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said.
But the CT scan has one more surprise for Alejandro. Shammai's ethnicity.
Well, they have just told me that Shammai had a Nubian feature, which means that their ruling family was probably Nubian, and that was unexpected.
Examining Shammai's anatomy closely, the thickness of his bones and the shape of his nasal cavity, the anthropologists think he was a black African, likely from neighboring Nubia. A huge revelation that challenges the prevailing image of the Egyptian ruling class.
We always thought the ancient Egyptian elites were Mediterranean type. We always thought the ancient Egyptian elites were Mediterranean type. We always thought the ancient Egyptian elites were Mediterranean type. We always thought the ancient Egyptian elites were Mediterranean type. And in this sense, Shammai is representing the society of the frontier in which different ethnic groups were mixed. At the end, it doesn't matter the color of your skin. Shammai was Egyptian. At the end, it doesn't matter the color of your skin. Shammai was Egyptian. At the end, it doesn't matter the color of your skin. Shammai was Egyptian.
Their bones were discovered in Kafse caves near Nazareth in Galilee in 1933. 13 fragile skeletons, one a woman, a tiny baby at her feet. When these bones were first uncovered, they were the oldest complete modern human skeletons ever found.
The numerous skeletons that have been found in caves in Israel at the sites of Kafse and Shkul show us that there were modern humans outside of Africa over 100,000 years ago. Those modern humans may well have gone up the Nile corridor. Those modern humans may well have gone up the Nile corridor. Those modern humans may well have gone up the Nile corridor.
Most Egyptologists and anthropologists, archaeologists of the Eurocentric persuasion will say that Egypt is in Africa. They had to concede that, but then they still draw the line by saying that they weren't Africans like that. In other words, they weren't dark-skinned people. And of course, this is all part of the Great Deception. And the reality is that if they give up Egypt, ancient Kemet, if they give that up and say that that was a part of black Africa, then they will also have to give up Israel. And that's why they draw the line at Egypt, because if they give up Egypt, they've got to give up Israel.
Now, we're going to go over here, and I'm going to show you where Israel sits on the African tectonic plate, which means that Israel is northeast Africa. Now, when we look at this map, this is the Sinai, okay? This is the Red Sea. This is Egypt. This is the Sinai. This is Israel. All right, this is Saudi Arabia over here. Now, if you see this in Hebrew, it says Haluach Afrikani, the African plate. Here it is right here. Israel is sitting right here. Israel is sitting on the Haluach Afrikani, which means that Israel is northeast Africa.
Without question, we are in northeast Africa. We are landlocked to Egypt, with the exception of the Suez Canal, which was a man-made ditch, a boundary now between, in fact, it's not even really a boundary anymore since Egypt has reclaimed the Sinai Peninsula. But nevertheless, even those of us who are Pan-Africanists in our thinking and Afrocentric, we forget and we leave off that portion of northeast Africa and don't want to claim anything beyond that.
Europeans classified this area as a Middle East, you know, and then since this the Middle East, the other question, where the Middle West, where the Middle North, and where the Middle South? They don't have no geographical terms like that.
Finally, Wells comes face to face with the man he's been searching for. A new portrait of the common ancestor of every man today. Adam. Without a skull, we can't know for sure what Adam looked like. But a combination of genetic evidence, vendors' forensic skills, and cutting-edge computer software suggests he looked something like this. Thousands of years after the Bible, and hundreds of years after Michelangelo, we have a whole new face for Adam.
I like the expression. He's got a very forceful look.
You know, he's intent on something, maybe taking over the world. You know, you begin to get perhaps an insight into why these guys won out and why this guy's our ancestor.
Now, the problem for me, it's not about color. It's not about white and black. This is a very reductive way to talk about things. This is the way that Americans talk about it. I'm very sorry. Like, I come from Egypt. Egypt has a very diverse color palette. People can look like me, or they can look deeper skin tone like Anwar Sadat, who comes from a Nubian origin. It's not about black and white. It's not about black and white. It's not about black and white.
It just doesn't matter. 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 It just doesn't matter.
At the end, it doesn't matter the color of your skin. Shemai was Egyptian. At the end, it doesn't matter the color of your skin. Shemai was Egyptian. At the end, it doesn't matter the color of your skin. Shemai was Egyptian.
It just doesn't matter. 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 It just doesn't matter.
I'm so glad you're here because you can bring great clarity. Can you tell us a little bit about the Sephardic Jews and how they were scattered because they went west?
I sure can.
Because the reason why I want to is because a lot of them, and a lot of people don't know this, are in the Caribbean.
They are.
In the islands.
And you're one of them. I know that.
I'm one of them.
I know that.
Because, you know, a lot of folk don't know that those roots are there. One of the first batches of slaves that came to Jamaica, they were the Sephardic Jews. It's documented.
And they're all over the Caribbean, South America, Central America, and even the South Central United States.
Wow.
And DNA testing is a factor in all this now.
It just doesn't matter. 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 It just doesn't matter.
Genesis chapter 11, verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you.
I want to say peace and blessings to everyone. Hope all is well with you guys. Let me adjust my camera here. Hope all is well with you guys, and know that this is an unscheduled live. So I'm going to, try to keep it pretty simple tonight. But I know that this is a straight to the point lesson tonight. And tonight, our lesson is Black is Beautiful. I want to give a special shout out. I see my sister Shonda at large in the building. If you haven't subscribed to her channel, show my sister some love here. So shout outs to my sister Shonda here. And who else do we have here? I'm not going to go through all the shout outs here, but I'm just going to see who I see here. Just glancing at the chat. Stay on Fire Ministries. Want to say peace and blessings to you. All right. Who else do we see here? Just glancing here real quick before I get started. Let's see here. Amiyah, I want to say peace and blessings to you. Tamara Yakar, peace and blessings to you. Alexandria, Sister Alexandria Leggett, peace and blessings to you. Who else do we have here? Joy, Sister Joy, shalom to you. Brother Ron, shalom to you. General Warman, shalom to you. All right. Can't get to you all tonight, but, I'll try to get to it as we progress in the lesson, as we do some interaction tonight. But I want to say peace and blessings to everyone. Thank you for the love and support. And we're going to go ahead and get right into it. All right. I know you guys have heard this term here, heard this phrase here. Black is beautiful. Probably even heard it, Black and beautiful. So I'm going to use that as the topic for tonight, right? Songs of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 5. And I have another passage I'm going to use to tie right into this chapter here, the set of verses that I'm going to use as my foundational scriptures. Let me adjust my mic here, make sure the level is good. If my level is good, type 1. If my level is good, type 1 before we get started if I need to adjust it. All right. Now, I know that we've been dealing with a lot over the past, let's just say this past year. I mean, we just gone through a huge stretch when it comes to our people, man, when we're dealing with, for example, the Kanye West situation, the Kyrie Irving situation, the Whoopi Goldberg situation, and then, of course, the Kevin Hart situation. The latest is the Jada Pinkett situation, all dealing with identity when it comes to our people. And I have some other videos I'm going to drop over the next week, but we had to deal with a lot. And the overtone is everyone else wants to tell us who we are not. They want to tell us our history. They want to tell us that we're not anything but, in a nutshell, our history started in bondage. They want to tell us, in a nutshell, that we don't have a history. Our history started in bondage. Our history started as prisoners of war. In other words, enslavement. Because the transatlantic world war is exactly what it was, a world war. It was not a slave trade. All right. But nevertheless, that's why I want to deal with this subject tonight. And we're going to deal with some passages tonight that's going to give you proper clarity of what it means. Black is beautiful. There was a lot of hatred. I'm telling you, there was a lot of hatred off of this slogan right here. Black is beautiful. If you studied the 60s and the early 70s, with the Black Panthers and some of the other groups, they were, in a nutshell, letting our people know that we are beautiful. We are a beautiful group of people. Invest in our community. During that time, we was doing more investing in our own communities, clothing, you name it. So Black is Beautiful is the name, or should I say the title of our lesson for tonight. All right. And I'm going to drop the link in the comment section at the end if anyone wants to jump on and share a few thoughts before we wrap up. But again, if you jump on, keep the message or stay on message. Let's not talk about things that has nothing to do with what we're discussing tonight. All right. But black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. But I want to start off with this thought here of race. What is race? What is race? Right? Because you guys have seen the Black Lives Matter speech that I did that went viral years ago. Right? You guys remember this, and this is where the clip comes from. I'll play a little sample of it. And this is based upon a conversation that I had with someone, and they asked me to speak at the Black Lives Matter rally that was here in Richmond about 7 years ago. Right. And this is just a sample of that speech that I gave to show the deception, the delusion with this institution of race. Here we go.
And so when I say Chinese, I want you to scream out the nation that's associated with this. For example, if I say Chinese, you're going to say what?
China.
All right, let's say it with authority. When I say Chinese, you say what? China. All right, that's just a test right there. So here we go. Chinese. China. Russian. Russia. Italian. Italy. German. Germany. Swedish. Sweden. Korean. Korea. Egyptian. Egypt. Nigerian. Nigeria. Black.
Exactly. Nothing. Tell him, Pastor. Tell him, Pastor. Black, nothing. Yes.
I hope you were able to successfully identify the issue.
So that was the intro to the 10-minute speech that I gave. And what you heard was an icebreaker, to kind of, flow into or ease into the speech that I had given that day. But it's an icebreaker to really catch the people off guard, to really get them engaged to what was being presented. Right. So race is not ethnicity. Out of all the group of people, we really grab hold of that. Like we think that saying that we're black is still connecting us to our heritage, which it's not. Black, white, red, brown, yellow, all of that is part of what is called the institution of race. Right? And when you understand what race is, then you can understand the layers of deception. This institution was created, back in the 18th century, created in the 18th century. And in a nutshell, backdated. And I'm going to show you exactly what it is. They created constructs, social constructs, identity, to turn the entire globe upside down and put us as a people on the bottom, and other melanated cultures and communities that have a history beyond what they tell us and teach us, have taught us in schools and in the educational systems, turned the entire community upside down. The Israelite community, the Egyptian community, the Libyan community, and many parts of the Ethiopian community, and some of the other communities of melanated people upside down. So this whole Cleopatra thing, and I know I keep bringing that up, and I hope you guys grab hold of it. See, the issue is race. White extremist ideologies, because it wasn't about a race. This construct was created a couple of centuries ago, about 3 centuries ago, and then backdated as if this is what the people were all about. It was not about race back then. It was all about bloodline. It was all about culture. It was all about being a nation. So let me go ahead and define what race is, right? This is coming from the Anthropology newsletter, The Origin of the Idea of Race by Audrey Smetley, November 1997. It says here, and matter of fact, let me go ahead and drop the link to this source here. You guys know how I do. I like to drop links here. So let me drop this link here in the chat. All right. So you guys can go back on your leisure, at your leisure, and you can read this here and confirm everything that I'm saying here. All right. So contemporary, notice what it says here. Contemporary scholars agree that race was a recent invention. Let me say that again. Race was a recent invention, and that it was essentially a folk idea, not a product of scientific research and discovery. This is not new to anthropologists, like the German anthropologists, the Ashkenazi anthropologist, Johann Blumenbach, that this whole institution is an invention, had nothing to do with scientific research and discovery. It's a system that was put together based upon stereotypes and create a whole new social identity. So contemporary scholars, notice what it says here, contemporary scholars agree. And again, the person that R.G. Smetley, right? She's a very reputable, renowned anthropologist. So again, contemporary scholars agree that race was a recent invention and that it was essentially a folk idea, not a product of scientific research and discovery. This is not new to anthropologists, so it's nothing new. The term race, which had been a classificatory term like type or kind, but with ambiguous meaning, ambiguous, vague, generic, universal, and of course, Catholic. All those words are synonymous to ambiguous, but with ambiguous meaning became more widely used in the 18th century and crystallized into a distinct reference for Africans. It'll tell you Indians and Europeans. But it goes on to say this: by focusing on the physical and status differences between the conquered and enslaved people and the Europeans, right? To draw a line, red districting, draw a line between the conquered and enslaved peoples and the Europeans. Let me read that again. By focusing on the physical and status differences between the conquered and enslaved peoples of European in the Europeans. All right. Let me read it one more time for you guys to grab hold of this, because we have to understand what race is. Right. And these educators, these so-called archaeologists, all these different people, linguists, so many of them, their agenda is, it ties right into this agenda right here, the institution of race, to preserve and also put their people, their groups at the forefront of history. So again, by focusing on the physical and status differences between the conquered and enslaved peoples of Europeans, the emerging ideology linked the socio-political status and physical traits together and created a new form of social identity. So you have so many in the church, when you prove to them that you are the people of the book. And what I mean by people of the book, let me make it more specific, that you are blood descendants of Israel, right? You done proved it with DNA, you done proved it with historical facts, you done proved it with family tradition. You done did all of this, and guess what they want to do in the end?
It just doesn't matter. 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 It just doesn't
I mean, you could show them and give historical accounts like this, as far as like what I've done over the years. So, the African Baptist Church down in Savannah, Georgia, the first African Baptist Church of Savannah, Georgia, established in 1773, constituted in 1778. You can put out videos like this.
Look on the outside edge of the pews. Look on the outside edge of the pews where you are. You see the different markings alongside the edge of the pews? They represent the different tribes that made up our congregation back then and spoke over 6 different languages among themselves. These were small tribes enslaved by larger tribes and sold to Europeans as they came along the African coast. One of the major languages they spoke back then was that of Aramaic and also two of Hebrew, which means the writings read from bottom to top. Assalamu alaikum. Which means, peace be unto you. It's not a Muslim term. It's actually the same greeting which Christ gave into the disciples when he met them in that region. Most countries in that region read from right to left. Here in America, we read from left to right. That's why the pastors in the St. Glass window up front here are going in numbers 2 through 7 from the right-hand side over to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left.
This is First African Baptist Church, the oldest black church in North America. The building, built by slaves. The gentleman that laid the first brick laid the last. The balcony hold pews that actually were built by slaves. They have the oldest information in this building. That information is written in cursive Hebrew writing.
So you could show all of this information with proof. And this is what you'll get out. This is the results of it, right? They'll try to tell you this when you done proved them wrong in every kind of way, right? From the translation of it, all the negativity they tried to bring to it. But yet, when you show the truth, translating what's on those pews, I've translated what's on those pews. In the end, this is what you'll get.
It just doesn't matter. 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 It just doesn't matter.
Come on, family. Come on, family. It's to be expected of those that are not part of our community, right? We could deal with it. It's to be expected, because those that are not part of our community, those that are not bloodline connected to us or anything like that, they're going to try to they get into the self-preservation mode. They want to preserve what they believe is right. They want to self-preservation, preserving whatever they think they are entitled to. But when it comes to those from our community, adding insult to injury and all the stuff that they are willing to do, slander and all kinds of stuff. Come on, family. You guys know what I'm talking about? Some of the worst people to deal with when you're dealing with this awakening is our own people. Come on now. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Some of the worst people to deal with is our own people. Y'all know what I'm talking about. All for the sake of a doctrine. And I'm going to go in on Saturday night. I'm going to go in. We want to deal with Revelation chapter 4. We're going to deal with who's seated on the throne. But it's always our people. Cognitive dissonance, Stockholm syndrome, and multiplied by herd behavior. Nothing but hopping bobs and hopping bobettes. Things that you would never have thought that you would see. You see these people willing to do. They're willing to stoop to all kinds of lows. So family, going back to my point, going back to the point that I made about the institution of race. As you see here, created a new form of social identity. And yet we get told, how many of you guys have heard this? It doesn't matter. Identity doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what color Christ is, as long as the color is of the blood is red. Only to our community. You don't see any of these guys challenging the Jewish community as we know them, who identified their so-called Messiah. You don't hear none of the church talking about that. Crickets. Don't believe in the Messiah of the ancient text. Crickets. But they want to come at our community. Come on, family. We have to keep it real. They want to come at our community. And unfortunately, we got some hopping bobs and hopping bobettes that are doing the dance right along with them.
Life is like a hurricane here in Duckburg. Race cars, lasers, aeroplanes. It's a duck blur.
Yeah, family, they dancing with them, man. They dancing with them, especially when you see all the people that's vehemently coming at the whole Cleopatra thing. Look just like you and I. The main people that's coming up against the Hebrew Israelites, always our people that got to take it to that extreme, to that next level of insults and slander. Come on, family. Come on, family. So again, created a new form of social identity. So when you say that you're a black man, guess what? Every time you say that, whoever owns the patent to this invention, you put money in their bank. You put money in their account. When you use generic constructs like I'm black or African American, because you're still not connecting to who you are. Those are generic constructs. The continent of Africa. Yeah, we know we all from the continent of Akibulan. We know this. But they don't want us to, when I say they, the very people that have enslaved us don't want us to get into the meat and potatoes of who we are. They want us to believe that our history began in slavery. So created a new form of social identity. But yet they tell us it doesn't matter. Identity doesn't matter. Being an Israelite doesn't matter. Your identity is through Christ. And that's not a single scripture that says that. It's not a single passage that says that. Our identity is through Christ. No, we can't come to the Father unless we go through the Messiah. But the Messiah said that he come back to restore his people, the Israelites. Anyway, let me leave that alone. Where did black and I am proud originate? Where did it originate? Where did I'm black and I'm proud? Where did it originate? Where did black and beautiful or black is beautiful? Where did it originate? Where did it originate? Let's go to the songs, to the Song of Solomon. Let's start with here. Let's start with here. Let's start with here. Verse 5, I am black, Shakharwar, or some will pronounce it Shakar, but it's Shakharwar. This is ancient Hebrew, not dealing with the Israeli stuff. I am black, Shakawar. And let me make this clear. This is not some institutional race. That's why when you start understanding languages, linguistics, you understand even when you're dealing with translations and transliterations and word choices, a lot of these people, when they was translating a lot of this stuff, they still had an agenda. I am black, but comely. Now, Awa, O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar. As the tents of Kedar. And if you have your Bible, circle this word here, right? And I'm going somewhere with this. There's a reason why it's spelled this way. Because the Hebrew word that's actually in the text is quadar. So I am black, shakawar, but comely, na'awa, O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of quadar, as the curtains of Solomon. And his name is pronounced Shalama. Shalama. So let's break this down. As the tents of Kedar. As the tents of Kedar. Let's define Kedar. Let's define Kedar. Let's go to the Hebrew definition of Kedar. In the ancient Hebrew, is quadar, right? Not this Kedar. There was no A sounds in ancient Hebrew. But nevertheless, you see here, dusky. And then it says of the skin or the tent, dusky of the skin. In other words, dark. But it says Kedar, a son of Ishmael. Telling you who Ishmael is, telling you the color of Ishmael. But then you see here, Kedar, dark. So Kedar means dark, family. Let me say that again. Kedar or Quadar means dark, family. That's what it means. It means dark. You cannot get around it. Quadar means dark. Let me say that one more time. All right. I'm not going to go slow-mo on you guys. So let's go to the primitive root word of Kedar. Let's go to the primitive root word of this word that we highlighted, Kedar. Oh, notice what you see here. Quadar. It means to be ashy, an example, dark colored. But it's interesting, right? When you start getting, read some of the definitions, some of the words that describes this word quadar. It says by implication to mourn. In other words, sackcloth or sordid garments, a time of mourning. But it says be black-ish, be dark, make dark, dark in. But family, this is the key right here. To be dark and ashy. That's what it means. To be ashy, an example, dark color. And I'm going to prove to you in this text that I'm going to show you the proper context of what it means. Let me pull it up. Before I get there, let's go to Kedar, Eastern Bible Dictionary definition of this word to tie it all in together. It says Kedar, dark skinned. Let me say that again. Kedar means dark skinned. This is the 1897 edition of the Easton's Bible Dictionary. Let me say that again. Kedar means dark skinned.
What?
Let me say it one more time. Kedar means dark skinned.
It just doesn't matter. 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 It just doesn't matter.
All right. So this is, and I'm saying Kedar. The ancient is Quadar. Right. But anyway, Kedar means dark skinned. dark skinned. The second son of Ishmael. And then it gives you some additional information. It says it is the name of the nomadic tribe of Arabs, the Bedouins, generally, and it gives you Isaiah, some scriptures here, who dwelt in the northwest of Arabia. They lived in black hair tents. And it was interesting. You see, instead of Songs of Solomon, you see this here anyway. To dwell in the tents of Kedar or Quadar. That's the key though. Quadar or Kedar, which still in ancient Hebrew is just Quadar. It means dark skinned. All right. So remember, Kedar means dark skinned. Right. And it comes from the primitive root word quadar, which is in ancient Hebrew, it's the same word. It wasn't Kedar, it was quadar. All right. So remember, it means dark skinned. And so the prophet Jeremiah says, Judah is dark skinned. Let me prove it to you. Jeremiah chapter 14, verse 2. Notice what it says here. Judah mourneth, Abal, and the gates thereof language, Amal. They are black unto the ground. And in that word, you'll see Quadar, right? Black unto the ground. Aratazah, some would say Arats, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. See, those that have agendas, they want to teach that Judah is in mourning, and when it says black into the ground, it's because they put ashes over their face. Nah, family, that's not the proper context. This is saying they are black unto the ground. In other words, I'm going to show you that there's Jeremiah is comparing Judah's skin complexion to the ground. Let's get proper clarity to this entire passage. Judah mourneth, Abal, in the gates thereof language, Amal, they are black into the ground, Aratazah, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. So here's the Hebrew definition of mourn, Abal. This is what it means. It says to bewail, lament, mourn. So hold that thought. Abal means to bewail, lament, mourn. So again, Abal is it describes the action, it describes the behavior, it describes the demeanor and the temperament of the Israelites during this time because of a certain event that occurred. Now let's deal with the word languish, Amal. Languish, it means to droop, by implication to be sick, but the key, be weak, wax feeble. All right. So Amal describes the security. It describes the vulnerability of a compromised, weakened gate or gates due to a weakened, compromised people. Let me say that again. Amal describes the security vulnerabilities of a compromised, weakened gates due to a weakened, compromised people. So the proper read would be Judah is displaying a passionate display of grief, and their gates, their cities is weak, is compromised. So let's go to Quadar again. Quadar, let's see what Quadar means. It says this, to be ashy, an example, dark colored. Okay. So Quadar describes the physical appearance of Judah. Their skin is dark and ashy like the ground. Let me say that again, right? This is why we can understand this. We can relate to this, right? Quadar describes the physical appearance of Judah. Judah's skin is dark and ashy like the ground. And during this time, when you read the entire chapter of Jeremiah 14, you will see that Judah is experiencing a drought. Let me say that again. Judah is experiencing a drought. So Jeremiah 14:2 is describing Judah's physical appearance during a famine because of the drought. So this is an image of Somalians dealing with a drought. This is an example of being dark and ashy. This is an example of being dark and ashy. And I know some of you guys with my skin complexion, my skin tone, right? You have to be careful, right? If you don't put that lotion on and that air hit that skin, you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen when that air hits your skin. But here during this famine that I have highlighted here, Somalians, they are dealing with a drought at this time, and look at this. The skin looks ashy. Look at the hands. Let me zoom it in so you can see. You see the ashiness of the hands in between. Come on, y'all know how y'all hands get like this. Look at this is ashy. This is what quadar means. Ashy dark. This is being ashy due to what? The famine. Due to the famine. And I want to make it clear. I am not mocking. I want to make it clear. I'm not using this picture as a way to mock. No, I have nothing but love. But I want to be clear. I'm not mocking this mother and her children in this picture, because again, I've been there in terms of I was raised, or should I say, I was raised by my grandmother, but my mother was a young underage girl who gave birth to, before she was even 21 years old, 4 boys, and I know how hard she struggled. So I want to make it clear, I'm not mocking this mother right here, because I've seen my mother struggle. We've been homeless. Anyway, so I just want to put that out there. So Jeremiah, let's go to verse 3 and 4 of chapter 14. Let's continue to confirm this here. It says this: and their nobles have sent their little ones to the waters. They came to the pits and found no water. Mayam, they returned with their vessels, kalai, empty. Rayaquam, they were ashamed and confounded and covered their heads. Right? This is not dealing with sackcloth. This is not dealing with ashes, sackcloth and ashes, what they want you to believe. This is a drought. And they are embarrassed because what? Of course, in a drought, you're going to be ashy, dark. You're going to lose weight. You're going to have a sickly look about you. And they are embarrassed about their appearance as well. Verse 4, because the ground, Adamah, is chapped, Chatha. Let me say that again. Because the ground, Adamah, is chapped, Chatha. Oh, wait a minute. Remember, family, Jeremiah is comparing the skin complexion, not just the skin complexion, but the texture. He's comparing the Israelite skin. He's comparing Judah's skin to the ground. He said, because the ground is chapped. Didn't say they put ashes all over their face. No, because the ground, Adamah, is chapped, Chatha, for there was no rain in the earth. See, the ground is chapped. Judah is chapped. Their skin is chapped because there were no rain in the earth. The plowmen were ashamed. They covered their heads. It's not dealing with sackcloth. It's not dealing with a call of mourning and fasting and all of that, because they're starving. They have no food. Come on, family. It says the plowmen were ashamed because they had nothing to produce. Because the ground, Adamah, is chapped. So let's go to the Hebrew definition of the word chapped. It says here to prostrate, to break down, beat down. But this is the key, because, again, this is the proper definition when we're dealing with chappedness of a ground. Come on, family. If the ground is chapped, y'all know how a dried out dirt is going to look. Dried out Adamah is going to look. It's going to look like it's shattered. It's going to look like it's broken. So to be shattered, be broken. Now let's go to the etymological dictionary definition of this word. It says to split, in other words, cause to split or crack. See, why didn't they put that inside this definition? Because the ground, when you understand chap, come on, you guys know what I'm talking about. You don't put anything on those lips. You're gonna get some cuts on those lips. You could cut glass with those lips. Having some chapped lips, man. You try to smile with some chapped lips, you gonna have some splits up in there. Come on, all of us was little kids, not putting that Vaseline, you know what I mean, on your lips. Your grandmother gave you a whole thing of Vaseline to put on your lips. You don't put that on, your lips gonna crack. Your lips are gonna split. Oh, y'all know what I'm talking about. You try to lick your lips and make it worse. Now all of a sudden you got ashy lips. Your lips look white. Come on, family. Come on, family. Come on, family. Got to put it on those ankles. Got to put it on those all into the crevices of. Make sure I get into the crevices of your skin. So again, chap means to split. It means cause to split or crack. Okay. So the proper read of Jeremiah 14:2, it said it should read this way. The proper read, the proper understanding. Judah, Yahwadah, Judah, Abal, right, is displaying a passionate grief, a passionate display of grief. Let me say that again. Judah, Yahwadah, right? Abal. In other words, Abal means, and this is what it covers right here. Abal is displaying a passionate display of grief. Judah is displaying a passionate display of grief. Their gates, their cities, right? Amal, in other words, are weak, and their skin is quadar. In other words, their skin is dark and ashy like the ground. Let me say that again. Let me read it one more time. Judah is displaying a passionate display of grief. Their gates, their city are weak, and their skin is dark and ashy like the ground. And there you have it right there. There you have it right there. You have a chapped piece of ground right here. Doesn't that look like our skin? Come on, family. Let me zoom that in for you. So the people in the back, let me zoom that in. Come on, family. Come on, family. Doesn't that look like our skin, especially when it's chapped? That is quadar. Quadar, dark and ashy. That is quadar, family. That is quadar. So was the Israelites black and ashy due to mourning? No. Sackcloth and ashes were worn during a time of mourning. When you go to Esther chapter 4, verse 1 through 3, you'll see this. When Mordecai perceived all that was done, Mordecai rent his clothes and put on sackcloth with ashes and went out in the midst of the city and cried with a loud and a bitter cry. All right. And it came even before the king's gate, for none might enter the king's gate clothed with sackcloth. And in every province, whithersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, and there was great mourning, Abal. Let me say it again. There was great mourning, Abal. Let me say it one more time. There was great mourning, Abal, among the Judeans, and fasting and weeping and wailing, and many lay sackcloth, shakwa, and ashes, rapah or rapa'ah. So many lay in sackcloth and ashes. So in these passages, why was all of Judah mourning? Why were they in mourning? In the passage that I just read, why were they in a time of mourning at this time in the book of Esther that I just read? It's because the Hebrew word, right, that we dealt with, Abal, is transliterated to the word mourning. It's clear that a fast was declared and the people wore sackcloth and ashes. Why? Right? Again, let me read this again. In Esther chapter 4 and 3, The Hebrew word abal is transliterated to the word mourning. It's clear that a fast was declared and the people wore sackcloth and ashes as is presented and specified inside the scripture. Mordecai, right, and Judah were facing a major crisis of their lives. A decree of extermination had been issued by the Persian Empire. So that's why they went into sackcloth and ashes, began to wear these, because they were dealing with genocide. The Hebrew definition of sackcloth, or as you see here, shock, in ancient Israeli language is sock. Not getting into all of that, but it says a mesh, coarse, loose clothing, or sacking. All right, used in mourning and for bagging. So sackcloth, shakwa, was worn in humiliation and mourning. But in the book of Jeremiah, there's 2 times when the people were instructed to wear sackcloth, right, in ashes, right, during a time of mourning. During a time of mourning, right, was declared over the people. They said, "Hey, we're going to declare mourning. Everyone, this is a time of mourning. Hey, wear your sackcloth and ashes." There's 2 passages. There's 2 times in the book of Jeremiah you'll see this. I'm not going to go into it. But guess what? That didn't happen in this situation. Jeremiah 14:2 is not one of those times. Has nothing to do with them wearing sackcloth and putting ashes all over their face in the midst of a drought. Does that make any sense? They're in a drought. They're starving. They're hungry. They're gonna put some ashes over their face. They're gonna put on these garments. No, they was ashy, dark. These Negroes was ashy and dark and ashy. All right. So let's bring it back into the scriptures that are highlighted. Let's get back to the Song of Solomon's. All right. So I am black, right? I am black. The Hebrew definition of black in this particular passage, as we dealt with shakawar or shakar, it means to be dim. It means to be dark. It means to be black. And I want to really go deeper into this so you can understand how words have meaning. And when you start really pulling back the curtain, right, you'll start seeing how a lot of racism, right, a lot of these definitions, the word choices were heavily influenced by races. And I'm going to show you here. Black, shakawar, means to be dim or dark. Shakawar. Now let's go to the etymology dictionary of this word dim. Notice what it says. Dark, gloomy, obscure, not clearly seen, and distinct. Not known outside of Germanic. In other words, this word, right? But anyway, right? This word, not known outside of Germanic, right? This word is a Germanic word. Go figure. Germanic, Ashkenaz. This is a Germanic word. Look at what it says. Dark, gloomy, obscure, not clearly seen, indistinct. It goes on to say, not bright. Come on, family. Think about this. Not bright, faintly luminous. Modern slang, sense of dull, of apprehension, stupid. You see how when you see this word dim and it's describing this sister as being dim as part of the definition of shakar or shakawar, not bright, faintly luminous, modern slang, sense of dull, of apprehension, stupid. All right. So let's go to the Oxford Dictionary definition of this word dim. It says here, right? It says not shining brightly or clearly. Subentry, made difficult to see by darkness, shade, or distance. So it says of a light color or illuminated object, but nevertheless it says not shining brightly or clearly. Words have meaning, family. So is the word dim complementary to the Negro? No, I just read to you what it means. Basically saying it means stupid. It means dumb, dull. So I am black, shakawar, and but comely. Let's break down comely. In other words, comely means suitable. Let me say that again. Comely means suitable. It means beautiful. Let me say that again. Comely means suitable, and it also means beautiful. Okay? So the primitive root definition of this word comely, this is what it means. You'll see here, it says to be at home, but the key is to be pleasant, but it still says suitable. An example, beautiful, be fitting, right? Be fitting. All right. So I am black, shakawar, but comely means black and beautiful. That's what it would transliterate to, black and beautiful. All right. Now, keep in mind, you have King Solomon and his wife flirting with each other. This is a flirtatious letter. This is a love letter here. So she knows that King Solomon is not questioning her skin complexion, because that's a whole nother thing when I deal with King Solomon, not tonight, dealing with his locks and all. But anyway, I am black, shakawar, but comely means I am dark and lovely. Let me say that again. I'm black, shakawar, but comely means I am dark and lovely. Y'all know that stuff, that the dark and lovely that many of the women would use. Dark and lovely. Y'all remember that, right? Soul Train, dark and lovely. All right. The queen is telling King Solomon, Shalamah, that her beauty is suitable and befitting of a king. See, they flirting. They're being very flirtatious, but she's saying, hey, I'm beautiful. I'm suitable. I got the type of beauty that's suitable and befitting of a king. Makes you think about this question here. The 31st chapter of Proverbs. Who can find a virtuous woman? Because she's saying that she's suitable, right? Beautiful and suitable, fit for a king. Who can find a virtuous woman? This question, and I get, man, this was always a pet peeve of mine, even when I was still in the church. Who can find a virtuous woman, right? It's not focusing on the woman, it's focusing on the man. Because it takes a virtuous man to find a virtuous woman. A virtuous man is supposed to be suitable for a virtuous woman. A virtuous woman is supposed to be suitable for a virtuous man. Being equally yoked, that's basically what it means. When you say, in the words that I'm describing here, as I break this down here, who can find a virtuous woman is dealing with a virtuous man. Why? Because here it is. Let's go here. Proverbs chapter 31, verse 1-3. Because you had all kinds of conferences. Who could find a virtuous woman? Forgetting about the man. It starts with the man. The words of King Lemuel, the prophecy that his mother taught him. Wait a minute. The prophecy that his mother taught him. What, my son? And what the son of my womb? And what the son of my vows? Give not strength unto women, nor thy ways to which destroy kings. In other words, telling him, don't get out here trying to chasing women. When it says give your strength, it's saying going out here sleeping around, chasing women. Hello, in this awakening, many of our brothers need to really understand this text here. It's like the OK Corral with many of our brothers and sisters in this awakening. So when you see here, give not thy strength unto women. In other words, don't go out here chasing women. Don't lose yourself. Don't go out here chasing women, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings. Look how King Solomon got destroyed. It is not for King Lemuel. It is not for kings to drink wine, nor for princes strong drinks. Right? So I'm just breaking down some of this, but it tells you, hey, a king is not supposed to be drinking what? Wine, fermented, right? Fermented drinks. He's supposed to protect the poor, as you see here, right? Verse 5, lest they drink and forget the law and pervert the judgment of any of the afflicted. So when you start getting out here drinking, what's going to happen? You're going to compromise and you're going to start doing what? Pervert the scriptures. You're going to forget the law, statutes, and commandments, which many of our brothers and sisters are doing. Drunk on, anyway, drunk on this flesh. All right. But anyway, let's get back here. So Song of Solomon, verse 6, chapter 1, verse 6. It says, look, Ra'ah, not upon me because I am black. Shakar, right? We see another word, but still, we still dealing with, still ties in with that word shakawar, but it says shakar, or shakar, rakar, because the sun, Shamash, hath looked, Shazap, upon me. My mother's children were angry with me. They made me the keeper of the vineyards, but my own vineyard have I not kept. So now what she's saying is she was already dark. She's already a dark melanated woman, but she's saying that she got a suntan. Come on, family. We could get a suntan. I'm dark. But man, I remember. I thought it was the impossible. Man, I got sunburned. I was out at making of a music video and was out there all day in the sun. Didn't know what it was. My skin was stinging and everything. Man, the next day, matter of fact, I remember when I went home, took a shower and everything, my skin was tore up, stinging. Next day, man, skin was, started chapping and all that other stuff. Chapping, quadar and ashy, right? Ashy. Start chapping. So I went to the doctor, because I thought something was crazy was happening. The doctor said, you got sunburn. He said, yeah, you were dark, but told me, hey, dark people, of course, he said black people, can get sunburn. And told me I have to be careful of being out in the sun, just being out there with uncovered all, during the summer. He said, hey, you want to just make sure you're properly covered. Yeah. So that's what she's saying here. She's already dark. That's why you see the different words here. She was already dark, but she's saying that she was out in the sun. So apparently she got a tan by being out in the sun doing what? Taking care of the vineyards, right? So look, Ra'ah, not upon me. And now when we look at the Hebrew definition of the word look upon, Ra'ah, we're going to break this down. It says to see, approve, behold, discern, enjoy, take heed, lo, look, right? So remember, this is being flirtatious. So look upon means to approve. It means behold. It means enjoy. It means gaze. So guess what? They flirting. Solomon's flirting. Solomon is very flirtatious. Come on, you having over 700 wives and 355 concubines. He was flirting with her. This is not a passage of her having to justify her dark skin. No, that's not what it's about. Look not upon me because I am black. In other words, black in this verse means swarthy, black, right? Here's the Hebrew the etymological dictionary of swarthy. It says dark color, especially of skin. All right. So Solomon was being told to stop staring. He was staring at her, man. He was just all in, just looking at her, and she's like, and they're being flirtatious, like, stop, back up off me. They're flirting with each other, family. This is not her trying to justify why she's dark skinned, because she began to what? Compliment him. Though her skin was dark in color like the tents, she was very lovely, like the expensive regal curtains that flanked the tents of King Solomon. Family, that's the proper breakdown of that verse 5. She's dark and lovely. And she was out there, got a tan, and Solomon, is flirting with her and everything. Come on, family. Let's not act brand new. All of us have been there before. Come on, family. This is husband and wife flirting with each other. Come on, family. That's what this passage means. But I just proved to you that his wife was a dark melanated woman that got a deeper dark dark tone to her because of being out there working in the sun. I also proved to you that Jeremiah is dealing with dark and ashy Negroes. All right. So I'm not going to go deeper here. I'm going to stop right here. I'm going to drop the link in here since we got a little more time here. I left some change here, giving you guys back some change, an hour and 10 minutes. Not bad. So let me drop this here. All right. All right. So again, pretty straightforward lesson. Pretty straightforward lesson. All right. I'm going to drop the link here for anyone that want to jump in briefly. Again, stay on topic. Let's not take the discussion outside of what we're discussing tonight. All right. All right. All right. So, like I said, family, that's what the breakdown of the scripture is. You see, like I said, you saw a number of different words here, but you see quadar, which in English you saw kedar. It means dark skinned, right? So we have plenty of passages that also you'll see that word there, but we know that she was dark skinned. All right. So I'll give it another few minutes. And let me just play this clip here. Give enough time for those that may want to come on to jump on. Let me play this clip about historians proving, ancient historians making it clear about the skin tone of the ancient Egyptians, proving that they were dark melanated people, contrary to what you see so many with these agendas try to teach today. All right, let me play this real quick. Herodotus, 450 BCE, who is considered the father of history, states that it is in fact manifest that the Colchidians are Egyptians by race. Several Egyptians told me that in their opinion, the Colchidians were descendants from the soldiers of Sesostris. I had conjectured as much myself from 2 pointers. Firstly, because they have black skin and kinky hair. Aristotle, 320 BCE, the great philosopher and father of scientific thinking, speaks rather derogatorily about the Egyptians, but nonetheless shows that he too regarded them as black skin. Those who are too black are cowards, like, for instance, the Egyptians and Ethiopians. But those who are excessively white are also cowards, as we can see from the example of women. The complexion of courage is between the two, in other words, brown or tanned. Aeschylus, 480 BCE, in his play The Suppliants, comment on an Egyptian ship. I can see the Egyptian crew with their black limbs and white tunics. Apollodorus, 70 BCE, affirms that Egyptos conquered the country of the black-footed ones and called it Egypt after himself. Greek writers, Lucian, 180 BCE, presents a dialogue between two Greeks, Lencinus and Timolas, discussing a young Egyptian boy. Lencinus, this boy is not merely black. He has thick lips and his legs are too thin. His hair worn in a plait behind shows that he is not a free man. All right. So, family, there you have it. So, really appreciate it, guys. Looks like no one's jumping on tonight. Appreciate the love and support. And let's keep moving straight forward. Let's keep moving full steam ahead. Really appreciate you guys. Now, let's go ahead and wrap this up here, family. In the words of, matter of fact, before we go there, let's just throw everybody that's pushing a lot, all this foolishness out here. Let's just go ahead and in a nutshell, give them the garbage can right here. Let's give them the garbage can right now. All right. Give them the garbage can right now. So as we wrap up, in the words of Moses, well, the Most High that he gave to Moses to encourage Israel in not Jeremiah, but Exodus chapter 14, verse 13 to 14, he said, "Fear ye not, stand still, see the salvation of Yahweh. These Egyptians that you see here today, you will never have to deal with them ever again. The Most High will fight for you." But here's the kicker, family. We have to hold our peace. I'll say that again. We have to hold our peace. Can't go back. Can't stay here. Keep moving forward. Shalom.
Listen, Genesis chapter 11, verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this back, Genesis 14, verse 13, Abraham steps on the scene. Being a descendant of Shem, which is a fact, means Abraham too was Abraham, born in the city of a black man, called Nimrod, grandson of Ham. Ham had 4 sons. One was named Canaan. Here, let me do some explaining. Abraham, Isaac was the... Jacob had 12 sons, for real, and these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10, these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10, these were the children of Israel. According